Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with Green White Depths, and we're going to be playing through a Legacy Prelim, which is something that I haven't done before. Maybe once, but usually the times are pretty bad for us in Australia, so I don't get to do them too often. But today I get to play one in 5 minutes and one at 9 PM tonight, which is pretty cool. So I think I'm going to play Green White Depths for both of them, but we'll see how this goes. There was consideration to metagame a little bit. My thinking was playing the prismatic endings in the main deck over a library and Night of Autumn, just because I expect a fair amount of Delver or creature-based decks, so the endings in the main deck could give me extra removal or Sword Splash as 5 to 6 in most instances. But I'm going to opt for a list that I'm just pretty happy with. I do like that Night of Autumn as a Green Suns target gives me a lot of ways to find that sort of removal, whereas prismatic ending on something like an ensnaring bridge in the main deck of like Painter, I do have to find naturally. So I think this is still fine. There's also the thought of cutting Urza Saga and just sticking to a green-white shell and not caring about Saga. It is pretty awesome playing a Thespian stage deck because it means that even if you're not playing Saga in your deck, if your opponent is, you do have ways to grab a Saga, which is pretty cool. But I just really like Shadow Spear and Needle as effects here. I think that Shadow Spear gives the deck a lot of game against 8 cast, and also any deck that has something like an Endurance or Ice Fang, just really nice. It's also quite nice against Delver to make combat math a little bit difficult, because the life gain can be pretty relevant. And Needle, just a really nice card for opposing Wastelands, Karakas, Planeswalkers if I'm really scared of it. Maybe if my Death and Taxes player starts with an Aether Vial. There's definitely a lot of good names for Needle. So, hey Zin, thanks for the follow. Otherwise, the deck is pretty normal. I've gone for a pretty consistent sideboard as well. Up to 3 chokes. Really want to have those chokes for BANT control, or the 4-color sort of mid-range decks. Force of Vigor and Collector Oof still pretty good. Seeds of Innocence are definitely an interesting card, especially for 8 cast. But I do like that Force of Vigor just has a bit more flexibility to it. But it is tough, maybe it's a case of if you're on a fair deck in Legacy, maybe you need those massive bombs of sideboard cards like Seeds of Innocence against 8 cast, rather than opting for a more flexible card in Force of Vigor, which does impact 8 cast, but it is a card that can rebuild from quite quickly. So a little bit of back and forth there. Hey Deepizzle, welcome, a huge thank you. Hope you're doing well. The only other thing that I've done with this deck is played a 3rd basic in a 2nd forest, which means under back to basics I can still pretty much cast everything, which I really like. Back to basics are a pretty good card against this deck, and I expect some amount of sort of control decks, so I can only hope we do okay. There was also the thought of playing the Ozymandias Matthew Vuk list that's been popping up, which is really cool, and I think I will play it shortly, but I'll probably take it through some leagues first. But this was a deck that looks really interesting. So Matt took it through a prelim and got the 4-0'd. He got a 5-0 and a 4-1, and something I wouldn't expect in 2022 is Dark Confidant, but here we are with a kind of take on 4-color Loam, or at least in this case just Abzan Loam, playing Urza Saga. You got your Reclaimers, your Life in the Loams to get them back, Dark Confidants, main deck Engineers, and Sword Plowshares and Prismatic Endings for removal, Night 10 Endurance, Green Suns. Really cool looking deck. I really like the look of this deck. And I know Dan Neely also took the list through a league and got a 5-0, which is pretty sweet. So to those two, very cool. 12 men, we have 20 people. Cool. Hey Ramar, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Very cool to catch you the other day playing. I know you've been playing a lot of elves with Newton, which is really cool to see. But you were also playing something yourself that I just cannot think what it was. All right, on the play against is the Tim. I don't mind this hand. We have a turn 1 Windswept to hold up either the Swords or Crop into turn 2 Library off stage. Last played lands. Okay. Interesting. So probably getting a basic forest off this Windswept Heath. Trop. Okay. Saga. Saga's quite nice. So when you're trying Madness, correct. Mox is pretty nice here. Because there is a world where I actually... crop for Wasteland and take out their Trop. That's pretty interesting because this deck doesn't have many green sources. I actually don't mind that. It's a very aggressive line, but... Ah, that's why. There we go. Apologies, I didn't change my screen around. Thank you very much. Go for Forest. Cast Mox. Probably just pitch the step here. There we go. Land for turn. Now the big question here is it aggressive to crop into waste and take out the Trop? I'm actually pretty happy doing it. I think knowing how little green sources they have in the deck, we get punished a little bit by Loam, but here, you know, if they don't have another 2 lands to activate the Saga, there just could be a world where they have like Maze of Earth or Tabernacle or something in hand. Okay, well they had green sources for days. Hey Mark, thank you very much. Loam. Ah, they had the prismatic ending. Rough. That's pretty nice. So now we have a few options. I wonder what they get with Saga. Like, I wonder if there's a world where I don't play the Reclaimer this turn, so if they get Needle, they don't name Reclaimer straight away. Like, I can play Stage here and just copy Forest, which I don't mind. Means we can't get Wastelanded. But yeah, probably a little bit aggressive. Hey Jerry, welcome. Hope you're doing well. And at least if they get Needle here and want to name Thespian Stage, I guess I could have also copied Urza's Saga, which is interesting. They have another Saga. Into Loam. Alright. Hey Paul, welcome. Debinder, welcome. Hope you're both doing well. Yeah, Loam here really strong with the exploration going. Maybe, yeah, maybe the crop was just a little bit too aggressive. Hey Mining Man, welcome. I'm just going to get rid of the construct here because if I untap and play a Knight of the Reliquary, then they get to create a dude, create a dude, create a dude, so it's like a 5/5. Alright. I think step 1 here is just get rid of the Loam and bog them. These Sagas are really going to take over. There's a world here where just in response I should swords this other one. But seeing the trop makes me think they're going to be playing Uro perhaps. So with Bulk already in play, there is a world where I have to keep a swords around for Uro. I think sadly we're just a little bit too far behind, and this rest of this game is probably just about finding out more about their deck. Especially the Saga targets. Needle being a pretty good one for Reclaimer heal. So you have some good cards. We have Surgicals, Endurances, Forces. Why Surgical tonight? I wanted to have something against Reanimator that was also free. So obviously Endurance is quite nice, but Surgical being pretty good against Reanimator, especially against the, not just Grizzlebrand, but Archon is really annoying. Tough as well here, because I could Wasteland the Saga, but then they have the mana to copy with Stage. Fairy Macabre is pretty good as well, but I do like that. Like against a Loam deck, I'm pretty happy to take out all Loams from their deck instead of just the one. Fairy Macabre also really good against Exhume. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to take out Safekeeper, and I'm going to go down on Depths. I definitely want the Forces, the Endurances, and I don't... Ending's also interesting. I still like Knight of Autumn as a target for Green Suns, just to be able to deal with something and then make them have to deal with it. I could see a world where I bring in Path instead of Swords. Hey, thanks, Mark. Hey, Eli, welcome. There's also a world where I drop down a Mox Diamond, but I really like the turn 1 library or some sort of turn 1 play that allows us to accelerate a little bit, but this is going to be a tough one. There is a world where Surgical is just better than Endurance. I like to leave one Dark Depths just in case, but there is a world where we actually just take out all Dark Depths, keep like a Mox for a Urza Saga target. I actually don't mind that. There's also the chance that we do have Moxen in the opener. Sand is pretty good. I'll keep this. Get to hold up green Force. We can also Library for Dried Arbor turn 1. Oh, sorry, Green Suns for Dried Arbor, turn 2 Library, hold up Crop. And then we also get close to just hard casting Force if they don't play a turn 1, like Exploration and Mox Diamond. But I think accelerating here is fine, just because of the power level of drawing into a Knight, turn 2. It's a nice thing as well for us. We do have the advantage of also having Dried Arbor as an accelerant, not just Mox Diamond. Just gonna hold up Crop Rotation here. Prismatic ending. Okay. Knight. That's pretty good. Mark, I'll if you message me, I do have someone who sent me a modern sort of lands list that looks really, really cool. Path, perfect. I'd probably get in here with the knight and then just hold up crop. But there's a world where we just keep going with crop, with knight. I don't think I'd take out the saga just yet. Definitely interesting though. Wasteland Saga. Could take them off white as well. In case they have like swords. I guess we have Sajiri step for that anyway. Hey, not bugging at all. Chat's always a really good source as well for information, especially around Modern. I haven't played Modern in a long time. I could potentially get my own saga here as well, which is interesting. Am I going to CanCon? I am not, unfortunately, but I do know some people who are going down, mainly for tabletop, I believe. Don't really want to use the knight here. Looks like they're holding up Force of Vigor. They could also just be holding up Saga and like crop. Well, library's really nice. Doesn't play too well into crop, but that's fine. Quarter. I think the play there was actually in my draw step. I guess they have the Ghost Quarter, but I was going to draw step, get Saga, get a trigger, and then main phase, get a second trigger. So I don't mind just getting little shots in here. What do I not want to see? It's kind of probably a white spell in either Prismatic Ending on the Library or Swords on the Knight. So I think I actually am just going to get rid of Savannah here and go after their Savannah. Especially while they're tapped off crop. They could like potentially Ghost Quarter it themselves, but that's probably only correct if they have a Loam in hand. Loam. We haven't used the Bojuka Bog yet, which is nice. Hey Boyd, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Put on top, pay for this. So this is interesting. I can take the turn to play the Ramanap. I can just go for Bojuka Bog now. I think we go for Bojuka Bog now to take out the Loam. I could also swing potentially. That's very interesting. It also makes the library a lot better because then we can just pay a bunch of life. I don't mind that. This way they also need to find an answer for the Knight really quickly. Do they loam? They don't loam, they take the draw. Wow, okay, nice. Interesting. I think I like that play because it pressures them to probably draw to find a removal spell in either Prismatic Ending or Swords to Plowshares. And so it kind of deals with the Loam anyway. So instead of going for Bog, take out the Loam, I'd rather give my opponent a reason not to Loam. Yeah, I think the worst case there is like something like Swords or Prismatic Ending. Probably Swords on the, I guess Swords or Prismatic Ending on the Knight, and then upkeep force my Shadow Spear and Library. Do I want to change things? I'm definitely thinking about the Prismatic Endings. Especially on the draw, just having like one extra play for exploration. Like, I could see a world where we bring in 2 Prismatics and take out the 2 Swords. Like, Constructs are a bit of a deal, but we can handle them to some extent with a lot of removal. Like, we still have a lot of answers to those. We also have Needle for Saga. I'm pretty happy to see how that plays out. We got a lot of time for this game as well, which is nice. Yeah. I mean, what's our plan? Our plan is turn 1, Green Suns for Dried Arbor, turn 2, hold up Endurance, we have Force and Force. I mean, if they got like Exploration and Urza Saga, or like Mox Diamond same turn. You will need to put the card name in front of that. Like this. Just don't draw Dried Arbor. Nice. We do need a white source for that, but... Library. I think that's definitely worth forcing here. It's just a case of what do I want to force, and I think it is just force, pitch, force. I could also take the draw step and then see if we draw into something worse. Like if I draw into another endurance or another knight, I kind of want to keep a force in hand. And this is at the beginning of your draw step, so you can still destroy it in an upkeep. So I think I will actually take the draw here. Reclaimer. Okay. Well, now we get to hold up endurance, which is nice. Yeah, so let's skip to their turn. Then I'm probably just getting rid of the Reclaimer here. Saga's going to be okay. But they have nothing. I wonder if I want to copy the Saga. They could then crop for Wasteland. I think that's a little bit too slow. They're also holding up endurance themselves. I also had the play of copies Savannah and then play Wasteland. Plains. I will attack first to see what they do. Nothing. I think the play then is just play out Knight. And not care about the Saga for now, because then the following turn we can just hardcast the Force. And I want to tap like this to act like we have crop rotation. Endurance. Okay. Okay. Another Saga. They have 2 cards left. I think, okay, so second main here, I'm going to Wasteland the Savannah so that in end step they can't hold up crop rotation, because what they could do is crop away one of their lands in response to Force. So I think we're just going to take out the Savannah, which also takes them off white, which is pretty huge. They're going to float green. No. because we potentially get to hold up Bog. So best case is they lose the Savannah, they try to create a token, or they don't float anything? Wow. So worst case again is that they have crop by upkeep and they just don't do anything here. So I think here I'm happy just to force these two right now. This is fine. Now they lose 2 lands. And we have Knight up for Loam, which is quite nice. Needle. I think here I'm happy to use the Knight just to get Bog and take them off these cards. Nice. Shadow Spear, okay. Step. They have 1 card left. I don't mind taking them off the Trop here. It could potentially even just be play Wasteland, copy Wasteland, Wasteland Trop. And then there's no great attack here, because if I attack with the Knight, then they just equip the Shadow Spear as a 4/4 and get in. So I'm just going to pass here. Ooh. Now we can crop for our own Saga, which is pretty nice. So actually I'm going to get in here and just, like, if they don't hit a land, then they can't attack with the Shadow Spear, which is nice. Oh, they're going to double block? Wow. We get to do some pretty good shenanigans here. We did put out all depths. So here we have some options. I can Wasteland the stage, which I don't mind doing anyway. Or we can get Saga. Because if I crop for Saga, we lose a land, it makes a 6/6. And then it's, yeah, so we can go hit stage. And then crop away Bog as well. Nice. And now we just go and get Urza Saga, which is just another win condition. Very cool. Nice. The other line was crop for step. And that way, we don't take the damage from Endurance and still kill the Construct. Hey, Vegeta. A huge thank you for the resub. Too kind. Too kind. Really nice to, yeah, to take down lands. A little bit tough for our opponent there. Like, the Force of Vigors were really solid. Even though one was just a 1-for-1, keeping them off that library was pretty huge. So, pretty sweet. But yeah, looking at this list from Matt, it looks really, really fun. Like playing Dark Confidant again in Legacy is pretty cool. Torporob's great against like Death and Taxes and Doomsday. Some other like random decks as well, which is cool. Tough. Can I look at match history while I'm still in a league? Yeah, okay. No. That's fair. So you don't believe in blue, huh? I believe in blue. We've definitely played blue cards before. I think in Banana Mav? No. In BANT Depths? Yeah, we're playing Uro. And in maybe Maverick, we were playing some Mindbreak traps. So, you can in leagues but not prelims? Okay. Gotcha. Nice. But yes, this is kind of like an Abzan take on midrange, which is cool. I think it has a bit more game than Abzan Maverick, perhaps, just because you have the explosiveness of Mox Diamond into library. Loam's quite good right now. Dark Confidence, obviously, pretty strong. A lot of creature removal around, but if it bob sticks, it can do pretty well. You're also running a bunch of low casting cost spells. I mean, you only have 7 3-drops, which is pretty low. No sort of like 4 of, like Queen Marchesa or something. Leyline, Endurance, Plague Engineers, Forces. Yeah. Pretty cool. I also like that we can see Dan here saying, Matt, why you gotta bring me back? I was having fun enjoying my Maverick. Sick list, definitely wanna try it out. And then of course Dan goes, hey, look at that, we 5-0'd. Very cool. But yeah, some pretty interesting lists running around. Pretty sure I saw a Yuri on Maverick list, which looked pretty sweet. Maverick. I believe it's just a green-white one, this one. No? Where was it? It wasn't Magthrok. KK? No. Fighting the good fight. I like it. Where is it? Oh, there's a Urion version in here somewhere. No. Anyway. Good to be back doing content again. Especially with the Green Sun Zenith. Got some new content up recently, which was just an update on like Graveyard Hate in Maverick. Main addition, of course, being Endurance, which has just been like such a solid card for the deck. It's obviously quite good against the deck, especially can make attacking with Knight or Elvish Reclaimer a little bit interesting, to say the least, but yeah. Oh, we were the first to finish as well. Pretty interesting for lands versus Green White Depths as well. I'm not too sure about my boarding. Just go back here. Bring chat over here. Let's just have a quick look at what we have. Sideboard, non-creature spells, crop rotation effects. We have 2 piles. So my plan against lands is most likely Surgicals, Endurance and Forces, and I did like the endings. And I did like the path. So I think what we take out in this case, I'm just going to bring these over here, these over here, these over here, and then we'll actually put this on the inside so it lines up with this. So I do like taking out Dark Depths. There is a world where I keep 1 as just a way to combo off if my opponent thinks we've taken them all out. I did like taking out the Mox Diamonds. Although it is nice to have that explosiveness, I really want to make sure my top decks are just pretty stellar. I like the 2 for 2 swords over path. But that can also come back to hit you, especially if your opponent is light on mana but has a big threat, or is on a Field of the Dead version, where the extra lane drop can really come back and bite you. Safekeeper I can definitely see coming out here. Shadow Spear there was pretty good, but I could see Shadow Spear coming out. Don't really need to trample that often, and life gain isn't too relevant, especially when we have so many answers to their creatures. I like the crops, I like the reclaimers, I like the knights. The libraries are fantastic, the green suns are good, the swords are still strong. Needle's still great, especially if they have like a Knight of the Reliquary and we don't. Ramanap, of course, great. Endurance, nice. Knight of Autumn, really good off green suns. Dried Arbor is just like our kind of bonus way to accelerate. Bajuka Bog turns off Life from the Loam and Uro if they're playing it. Flagstones is nice because it's just a land that isn't really wastelandable and allows us to ramp with Elvish Reclaimer. This is another matchup where I really like having 3 basics because we can just play pretty much a whole game plan off the basic lands. Wastelands still really strong, especially get rid of opposing lands that I actually care about, like maybe a Saga or a Stage. Karakas I think is still good. Is Knight my favorite card? It's got to be up there. It's definitely got to be up there. There's also a world where I don't need like both Surgical and Endurance. Surgical, for the most part, is card disadvantage, but I guess when you're hitting things like Loam, the value over time can really hurt, where I'm happy to go down on the 1 card. What else did I take out? Maybe it was 1 step. I think it was 1 step. But that's still just 9. To be fair, I could see like 3 swords. It depends on their build. We didn't really see too many creatures. Actually, seeing Knight, I do want to keep the extra sword in. Ending's Path, Force, Surgical. We took out the extra Dark Depths, that's why. Yeah. Definitely interesting. I could see Stage number 3 instead of Dark Depths 3. Because it is just a nice kind of backdoor win con in case they've gone all in on sort of the Saga plan. They're most likely not naming Thespian Stage in the blind. They're probably naming Knight or Reclaimer in the blind. So I think that's how I would board. But definitely interesting. I could definitely see the swords staying in for something else. Maybe, yeah, not going for the Dark Depths plan. Dukes on Twitch. Ragavan is definitely looking like a favorite card for a lot of people in Legacy. It is in a lot of decks, and there's a lot of sort of blue-red X Delver running around with Ragavan. Or blue-red X Ragavan, I guess, that features Delver sometimes. Keeping Saga for the 1 Mox and the Needle. And I think Saga just on itself can win games, which is really nice. What's the board plan for Delver? Let's have a look at that. I'm going to quickly add this one. And this is Verse. Bandland. So against Delver, on the play, it's probably these 7. So let's just put these back. Delver. 7 cards. I don't mind extra chokes on the play, but on the draw, I don't mind just the 1 choke. Safekeeper, I'm not a big fan of. They usually have things like perhaps Karakas if they're playing a kind of land heavy build with Karakas or Wasteland. But like Brazen Borrower, Dead Gone, Submerge are the big cards. But having Step in the deck, I think we can be pretty generous with that. Knight of Autumn can most likely come out. The libraries I usually drop, especially on the draw. I still like the Crops, the Reclaimers, and the Knights. I don't mind dropping a Green Suns, just because there isn't like a specific threat we're really going for. Ramanap's still fine, Endurance is obviously great, Shadow Spear is fine, Pithing Needle is great, especially if they have something like Wasteland in play. I could again see Mox Diamond going down. The card disadvantage is pretty real. I could potentially see a world where Mox is pretty good, especially on the draw, because you get to play around days. But I think it's probably something like this. So Safekeeper, Knight of Autumn, 2 Library, Green Suns, 2 Mox for 2 Endurance, 2 Prismatic Ending, 2 Path, and a Choke. Yeah, something along those lines. I still think the Dark Depths plan is real. It could potentially also just be a Saga on the draw, and bringing back Inner Mox just to have those explosive starts, or at least like turn 1 Mox land and then Swords or Prismatic Ending around days. Yeah, and then I think on the play I bring in probably 1 extra Choke. I probably wouldn't bring in all 3. The third one's mainly for the sort of BANT control decks to run more Prismatic Ending effects to deal with Choke, but I think something like this. Tabernacle's interesting as well if people do move towards like more creature heavy decks like Young Pyromancer, but for the most part they just usually have either the basics for it or they can just win before the Tabernacle really can take over the game. So I think that's pretty strong. Yeah, so no ending in the main deck. I did want to try out something like Knight of Autumn in the sideboard and Knight of Autumn and Ramanap in the sideboard, and then bring in the endings. And then for the matchups where I want Knight of Autumn and Ramanap, I can bring those back in, just because I thought there might be more Delver. So you could definitely play something like even like main deck 1 ending Knight of Autumn in the board. Or potentially Ramanap's just really good right now because of all the Wastelands around, and also just re-getting back Sagas, Dark Depths, and Stages. But I definitely thought of a build where these 2 were in the board and then these 2 were main deck, just to make sure we had more answers for anything from Ragavan to Sylvan Library to Ensnaring Bridge. Thoughts on splashing red in green white for red blasts? I really like it. I was actually watching Jono yesterday, Dreadnought 33, play some. I think he was playing green white Abzan Maverick, and just talking to him about a list that he used to play with sideboard Pyroblasts, which is pretty cool. Which I believe is this version. Yeah, which is essentially green white Mav. Bring this back up. Put this over here. Which, yeah, green white Mav in the main deck. We run a Plateau and a Taiga, and then we have 2 Pyroblast and 1 red Elemental Blast in the board, which is really nice. If you can win game 1 against blue decks and not show the red splash, they will definitely not think of the blast effects, which is pretty nice. Same sort of package here as well. 1 main deck Ramanap, Knight of Autumn, Endurance, Safekeeper, Dryad Arbor, 4 Knight, 4 Elvish Reclaimer, 4 Crop, 4 Green Suns. There's the main deck Prismatic Ending, and also 3 Sylvan Libraries. The only reason I cut down on Library was that I expected Delver, so I didn't want to have too many libraries in the main deck in game 1. 3 Mox, and then Maze of Ith, also a really nice land to have. This version isn't playing Saga, which is why you can fit more things in, like Prismatic Ending, like a land like Maze of Ith, the extra Sylvan Library, which I definitely don't mind. I think that opening yourself up to cards like Meltdown has definitely got me before, where it's been like, wow, I lose like 4 permanents here, which is pretty brutal. So there's definitely big advantages to not running Saga. And in versions with Stage, you know, you can still copy your opponent's Saga if you really want to go that route, which is kind of nice. But Tabernacle's pretty good, especially against the go wide strategies. Some people run Glacial Chasm, which both are pretty good against elves. Elves can kind of get their way out of Tabernacle with Cradle, or just get like a fast natural order kind of going. Glacial Chasm usually quite strong, either in response to Craterhoof's trigger, or just early enough they're trying to go for beatdowns. Deafening Silence, really nice. I actually took out all combo hate, or at least dedicated combo hate, like Mindbreak Traps or Deafening Silences from the board, just so I could rely on some splash cards like Endurance and Surgical, because I didn't really expect there to be much combo in this prelim. Which is nice, because it gives me more room for things that I expect. Most likely creature-based matchups. But yeah, it's pretty clean, which is nice. The third choke is quite good against the BANT decks, where I do have a bit of a hard time against. It's tough as well, because a lot of the BANT decks do have a pretty good mana base of basics. And then the ones with Abundant Growth and Yorion can kind of play around choke pretty easily. Which is a tough thing to play around, but that's just you got to have some poor matchups and some tough matchups somewhere, or else, you know, what's the point? There's no real there's no fun in just winning, and there's definitely no learning in just winning as well. You learn a lot from your tight matchups that you lose. Nice. All right, what have we got? One match left. Nice. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be back in a second. All right, round 2 starting up soon, which is pretty sweet. Nice. All right, kind of hope it's Delver, just to get a glimpse of the matchup and see how it's performing. I just put up a recent league with Abs and Maverick on YouTube, which you can find here, and yeah, thankfully Delver wasn't an issue. Handled it pretty well, so thank you, deck. All right. G#77. This hand is a pretty tough one. Doesn't have a green source and doesn't have a, yeah, it doesn't really have a plan going for it. So pretty happy to mulligan this. This is the one lander. No. Okay. I think it's just keep swords, keep crop. Okay. Interesting. I think we just Savannah Pass, which holds up both crop and Swords to Plowshares. Saga. Hull Breacher. Narset. Alright. Do they find it? Do they find Echo? No. Happy to take a draw here. Claimer. Okay. I think we take out the Saga here with crop. And then just play Reclaimer. This also pressures the Narset if they tick down again. Mox Opal. Okay. Emery, sure. Okay. Days Undoing. Rough. Oh, okay. Well. Get rid of Narset. But this is looking pretty tough, to say the least. Yeah. All right. Boarding. I like the oof. I like the forces. I'm going to assume they're still on Sai, so I am going to bring in the Tabernacle, but I'm not too sure if anyone... Yeah, they are. They are. I don't mind the endings either. The libraries I'm going to take out. The Moxes are quite nice, especially to accelerate. Safekeeper, I think we can take out as well. I think Ramanap's just a little bit too slow. I don't mind trimming a Knight. I don't think Sajiri Step is where I want to be either. It's not too bad, 6 for 6. I think that's going to be it. This is probably a matchup where I do miss the Deafening Silences, but definitely take what you can get. I'm not sure if Path is worth it either. If Path is better than Sword Path shares, I assume they run at least some amount of islands. 2. Also have to have a look for Dismember. Okay. My only thought is Path. Like, is this a matchup where I really need the Moxes? Like, if they have Narset Days Undoing, then it's a little bit tougher. I don't mind Mox. It just allows me to get closer to to collect Oof in case I really need it. And I don't think there's great hits with Surgical either. Turn 1 Reclaimer, turn 2 hold up Crop and Swords. Or turn 1 Flagstones, hold up Swords. His hand has a plan going for it, which is nice. Turn 1 Reclaimer, turn 2 if they do nothing, I assume not. We have Forest Flagstones. So we can sack the Flagstones, get a Savannah, get Stage. I think this is fine. It has a nice plan against Hull Breacher, and it has Crop for Tabernacle if they go for a Psy, go wide plan. There is a world where we have to keep up Swords, but I think just being proactive here is what I want to do. Just try to play my own game, at least for turn 1. Then we're down to 6 as well. Okay. Not too bad. What are they stopping for? Night of Autumn. Okay. Pretty happy to Swords Emery here and then just hold up Crop. Hey, thanks, Starfox. Too kind. I could also just hold up Reclaimer here. Yeah, I think we just hold up Reclaimer with Crop and Swords, because I could just bog as well in response to Emery and keep the Crop or Swords. Now this is an interesting one. Because I can use Reclaimer and tap out here, or I can use Crop, get rid of the Flagstones, get a Savannah, get a bog them. But I kind of like keeping the Crop at instant speed, so I think... Like, pretty much what I'm trying to figure out here is my opponent wanting me to use the Reclaimer here to then do something obnoxious? And if I use my land, if I actually use my spells here, I kind of lose less value to something like Hull Breacher into Echo. Our opponent's disconnected. Okay. I think I am just going to use the Flagstones here. but it's a tough one. They have 2 cards left. Nothing. Okay. Ooh, okay. I think here we're just going to green suns for Collector Oof, and then hold up Source to Plowshares. Or Crop Rotation. This is still fine. The question is it too greedy here to go for Tabernacle? I think I'd rather just hold up Crop or Swords. I guess they have 1 card in hand. I could also potentially turn off like Dismember potentially. But then it's also a case of trying to win this game quickly, and maybe Crop and Reclaim are just my ways to get Dark Depths online. Yeah. And if they like make a big creature here, we have the Knight of Autumn to deal with it. Nice, okay. Definitely a little bit of risk there with how I played, but I think overall, with them on 2 cards, it works out pretty nicely. Because even if the 2 cards are Dismember on Collector Oof and then just discard for Echo, we have the Swords for Hull Breacher. Yeah, we could also Savannah Crop Rotation into Step to protect the Collector Oof. I probably wouldn't mind that. I think that actually is a better play, because then they've used their mana for turn and they only have 1 card left. Alright, on the draw, I think I am going to bring in the Paths, especially on the draw. I'm going to go down to 2 Knights. Knights are still fine, but not the greatest. And then Shadow Spear is interesting. So Shadow Spear in this matchup is really my way to get Marit Lage through the Psy 1/1 flying Thopters. But we also have Tabernacle, which is a pseudo way to get rid of Psy tokens, because most of the time they can't pay for all of them. But I'm not sure if Shadow Spear here is the cut. I think it could be. Shadow Spear also a nice way to make sure we can kill Planeswalkers on the field, like Narset, if they have some sort of like chump blocker out. It could just be like going down to 1 Knight potentially. What's Needle naming? It's a good point as well. Like, it's not the worst against Emery, as like a turn 1 play if we don't have removal. Let's have a quick look. This is probably their list. So you can name Emery. You can name Psy if you wanted to, especially if that's their way out of trying to get under a Collector Oof just by sacrificing their artifacts and drawing out of it. None of these are really worth it. I guess they have a Retrofit Foundry and Aether Spellbomb, so knowing about those 2. It might actually be the Needle. Yeah. There is a world where Endurance is just better than Knight as well, because it does interact with their graveyard. And just going down to 1 Knight as a Green Sun's target. A little bit too fair, this hand. No real interaction other than Wasteland, unfortunately, so pretty happy to mulligan this. Better. A lot better. I'm going to keep this on bottom the Knight. So if I had a Force of Vigor here, I could force the Chrome Mox and the Saga here before they imprint, so they wouldn't have mana to float. But unfortunately, we don't have that. Interesting. Saga. It's just going to be Plains Pass, hold up swords. Interesting, all in on Saga. Wasteland would be sweet. Force of Vigor is insane here. Force of Vigor is really nice. So I think I want to play my own Saga and get that going. And then take out their Saga and Chrome Mox. They still get to create another token though. There's a world where I don't actually care about the Chrome Mox because of Green Suns for Oof, and I go after the token here instead. I don't mind that. And then save the swords for like a Hull Breacher or an Emery. And then yeah, oh, LED, okay. But nothing? Okay, so I have 2 cards left. Oh, if we drew the Mox. Wow, wow. So good. That means we can play Oof and Hold Up Sword. There's a world where I don't actually even want to swords this. Because next turn I get to make a dude, then play tab. But maybe I don't want to play the tab if I have my own creatures out. So I think I actually just want to go for sword. I think it's just Shadow Spear does nothing because of the Collector Oof, but I might as well get it into play, I guess. I think that's better than Mox. Well, they have the Dismember? Okay. A little bit of yikes. Oh, wow. Please don't. They have 1 card in hand. Pedal. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Force. Wow. I don't mind just get Endurance and Endurance myself to put Oof back in the deck. I also have Tabernacle, Green Suns for Night of Autumn, but there's not a great target here. Hardcast Forces on the table. I'm just not sure what it's doing. I'm going to attack first. Yeah, sadly we don't have anything great right now against either of those cards. I think for us the best thing to do is try to just Green Suns. Hitting LED takes him off Echo. Yeah. All right. I think here we just want to hit Chrome Mox and LED. Yeah, I think Oof does. There's also a world where if they play a seat, the artifact land, if we attack with the construct, if we draw a land next turn, attack with the construct, and they try to block it, we can then copy the seat to give us another artifact to grow this, which is pretty cool. Renegade Rallier would be a pretty cool one here. Yeah. Opponent having a think. Yeah, sweet deck. Obviously there's some feel bads for, like, you know, top deck Days Undoing or something, but like that's just why you play this deck. And it's very cool to see it in Legacy. Because Days Undoing is a sweet card. And I know people tried it out as like an instant speed thing with Teferi and like other cards like Hull Breacher, but I think this is the exact deck where Days Undoing just shines. There's also the thought that if I Green Suns for Endurance and put these on the bottom, then I also need to find a way to shuffle my deck outside of Green Suns, which is obviously the best draw, to get the Oof back into like a state where I can actually pay for it. Alright. They pay with that. Interesting. Chrome Mox LED. And like maybe next turn, if they don't play anything, maybe we just Green Suns for Night of Autumn and take out the Mox Opal, so they're left with Island, Petal, Petal. This is it. Emery, pretty good. Emery's pretty good. We do have Endurance. Okay. I think now we Green Suns for Endurance if we draw a land. Unless we just don't pay for the construct here. Because Emery getting back... It gets back LED, which I think is an issue. So I think we actually don't pay for this and just take the land. Or take the hit. Because then Endurance also keeps the Hull Breacher off from attacking. Well, that's pretty interesting as well, because now we have Dark Depths up. And I think that's just the better play. So let's quickly have a look. So they have Petal, Chrome Mox, LED, Chrome Mox, LED. So they only have mana. And they have to pay for Tabernacles here, most likely. Yes, they are playing Upheaval, which is pretty cool. So I think we see how they pay for Tabernacle first. Yeah, so because Marit Lage is indestructible and Tabernacle says destroy the creature if you don't pay, you don't have to pay the Tabernacle cost for your own Marit Lage, which is pretty nice. And it's something you definitely see. I think like new lands players are probably the biggest culprits of just paying for their own Tabernacle, because some people just think that Tabernacle kind of makes you sack the creature instead of destroy it. I wonder if you have no lands and you have a creature and a Giver of Runes in play, can you give it protection from colorless and then Tabernacle can't destroy the creature that you can't pay for? We didn't pay for the construct with Tabernacle because I wanted to perhaps Green Suns for endurance, and I wasn't sure if I was going to draw a land. Doesn't target? Okay. Because the creature has the ability, yeah, itself. All right. What's the draw? They're definitely thinking, huh, what are they getting back? Chrome Mox. Interesting. To pitch something? What just happened? You may cast it. Okay. That's fine. Interesting. Okay. I think this is going to be ours. Nice. Oof. Oh no, definitely thinking. They are going to attack. Nice. Yes. Haha. Too good. Too good. So how did we board there? I should have taken a little screenshot. We brought in these for sure, and I believe we brought in these and maybe the endurances. It was pretty heavy. We traded 2 endurances for 3 knights. We took out the needle, the libraries, the Safekeeper. I believe we took out a step. Yeah, Needle's definitely interesting. It does hit like Emery and Narset. They're not playing a Khan. They weren't playing a Khan version, I believe. But yeah, Needle's definitely interesting. Yeah, so I took out 3 knights and kept 1 knight in. I guess Needle's also nice because it is like a target that can do something underneath a Collector Oof. It does hit Saga as well, yeah, which is pretty nice, especially if that's their sort of route. Like in that game, they were kind of on the Saga plan just to make big dudes. I think we went down on... No, we kept the Moxen in there. Maybe it wasn't all endurances. Honestly, I don't mind taking out an elf. I think that's like a pretty good 9 for 9. Elf is fine because it allows you to turn 2 Bog or turn 2 find Caracas for either Emery or Sai, but if you're returning those to hand, it's not the greatest feeling. Something like this. Nice, but 8 cards can be a tough one. I mean, that was a little bit different because they didn't hit like the Sai part of the deck and went more on the the Days Undoing all-in kind of approach, but it's a quick deck. And hey Luke, thanks for the follow. Too kind. 42 minutes late, but I definitely appreciate your support. How many have we got still playing? A few. Nice. It's good to see Interplay playing as well. Most likely on Cloud Post, which is an interesting one for this deck. For Cloud Post, I would probably be looking to... Cloud Post, I'm looking at the Force of Vigors. Probably the Paths as they hit Eldrazi if I really need to do that. Surgical is also not the worst, but I can Surgical a Cloud Post. I think the Endurance comes out. The Safekeeper. The Spear. Probably the Bog. I don't mind the Libraries. I do like that the Moxen allow us to ramp pretty quickly. Endurance, Safekeeper, Shadow Spear. Endings are interesting as well because they just take care of Pithing Needle and also Elvish Reclaimer. So maybe Surgical is just overkill. Because Tony's been on a kind of a new version of the deck, which looks pretty cool. So we could hit maps if we really wanted to with Oof, but I think there's better things to be doing. Safekeeper is really nice against the Caracas decks. I wouldn't say Script Ranger is like a clear card to compare against. Oh, already in. Up against Interplay. Nice, okay. With a pretty interesting hand. We don't currently have a way to Wasteland, other than Green Suns for Elvish Reclaimer, and then Wasteland, and then try to get Ramanap going with Wasteland. I think I'm happy to keep this and just hope that we can get there with a Reclaimer. Pretty happy to get Forest, because that's a card I'm pretty happy just to throw away to Reclaimer if it sticks. Once. Alright. Tony's a really good streamer. Obviously a very fantastic Cloudpost player. But yeah, recently did his stream up a little bit, which is cool as well. Forest. Reclaimer. Okay. Well, now we're pretty nice because we have swords and Wasteland in hand. Probably pretty happy just to turn this forest into flagstones in my end step. Could also go towards Dark Depths and then just have Dark Depths online next turn. That's pretty interesting. We'll see what my opponent does here. A lot of plays, but I do love this matchup. It's very fun. It's very intricate. A lot of little lines, and like it's always nice to play against someone that you just kind of know and like has a really good attitude towards Legacy, like Interplay does. Also, a fantastic choice of basic. Stage Needle. Now this is pretty interesting because if I get flagstones and they name Reclaimer with Pity Needle, then we can't really do much. But that does mean it turns on the Wasteland, which is kind of nice, which isn't that great in the face of crop rotation. So there's a few things you can do here. And I am going to take a little screenshot because this is pretty interesting. So if we get flagstones, it's great value for the Reclaimer, but then they definitely probably name Reclaimer with Pity Needle. If we get Dark Depths, I assume they either name Reclaimer or Stage, and if they name Reclaimer, then they definitely have crop rotation for Karakas in hand. There's no way about that. I kind of don't want them to name Wasteland, and I want them to name Reclaimer, so that makes me want to get flagstones here. Ugh. I could also get Saga. Saga's pretty interesting. It's just a way to try to go wide, and then we have the stage for it, but then they have the stage for it. And if they have crop rotation, they also have crop rotation for... Interesting. Cloudpost, of course, doesn't play Land Destruction. So maybe Saga's better here. I don't mind Saga. I think Saga's actually quite nice here. Then in Wasteland. Okay. So we get our own needle next turn as well, which is pretty nice. I don't want to show the Wasteland either. I don't think there's a world where they evoke Endurance here just to buy some time with damage. So maybe they could be thinking about like Maze of Ith perhaps, or Bojuka Bog potentially. Or crop here for Cloud Post and get rid of the stage. Crop. Interesting, cropping away the forest. Cloud Post. There was a small part of me that wanted to play a Ghost Quarter over Third Wasteland in this build. Specifically because I knew that Tony was most likely going to be playing this prelim, but obviously didn't happen. Okay, so now they can hold up their own Cloud Post, which is interesting, or their own Saga target. I think we just go ham here. I could Pith and Needle Eye of Ugin here if I really wanted to, or go for Shadow Spear. So Shadow Spear would be an extra 2 damage, which puts them down to 10, and then we have lethal the following turn. If I get Needle here and name Eye, it's an extra 1 damage, which I put them down to 11, and then the following turn we have lethal as well. So I think here I do just get Pithing Needle and name Eye of Ugin. So currently have 9 mana. It's tough though, because maybe that's just not the best name. But all good. I will show the Wasteland and then attack. I just hope it's not Ulamog. I also potentially get to Ramanat back Urza Saga next turn. A few things. But opponent currently can't Crop, they can't Green Suns, they can't Once Upon a Time, they can't Elvish Reclaimer, which are all 4-ofs in the deck. 3 Crops and 3 Onces because I've used them. Can't Endurance either, which is a 2-of. There's a potential world where they need to like Green Suns for Wreck Sage on the Eye. No, that's actually too slow as well, because then they have to play Forest in a turn and Eye in a turn, and then have another turn to actually play the creature they get with Eye. So I think it has to be Eldrazi here. It has to be a big Eldrazi. There is a world as well. Oh, they have Yavimaya. Wow. Yav changes everything. Prime time. Yeah. Yeah, tough. All right, this is going to be an interesting one. Forces, check. Paths, I don't mind over swords, especially in that scenario where we just have to play beatdown. Safekeeper out. Needle, I still don't mind on eye. Shadow Speed Erase. Bulk can most likely come out. I don't mind dropping down on a Dark Depths as well, seeing they're playing stage themselves. Prismatic Ending is just another answer to either Elvish Reclaimer map or Prismatic or Expedition map, which is nice. Surgical, I think I just have to bring in Surgical. I just think Surgical and Cloud Post is one of my ways to like actually get around them not having some sort of answer. I think like Surgical and Cloud Post is a pretty nice one if we can get there. But it's obviously pretty tough. I think we can take out the steps. There is a world where we just go down to one Dark Depths, to be fair. Because they have like crop rotation for Caracas, they have Glacial Chasm most likely. Yeah. Endurance can most likely come out for another ending. I like that ending hits Needle and Map and Elvish Reclaimer, and then little things like Endurance, Ramanap, and Rexage. But of course it doesn't hit the big Eldrazi, so there's pros and cons. I think this is it. I don't think this is good enough. The mana's just a little bit too off. We get to go step pass, hold up Force with Reclaim, and then have Prismatic Ending. Yeah. Bottom the Shadow Spear. We have an answer for Needle and Reclaimer, which is nice. We have to draw white mana. Ugh. Alright. Surgical one time. Knight. I still just want a Wasteland here around crop rotation and also without Needle on the field. It also gives me a chance to perhaps Surgical still. Flagstones. That's actually pretty perfect. Now we can hold up Path and also ramp with this Flagstones. I'm going to get Savannah here and Wasteland. Savannah. Wasteland. This means that if they name really Prismatic Ending, if they name Wasteland or Reclaimer here, we have Ending for the Needle and then hopefully Wasteland the other land. If it is a crop. Forest. Okay. Reclaimer. Okay. I kind of want to double spell this turn, so I think we go for... I don't really care about the basics. I probably want to throw a basic away at some point. Knight path now so we can attack as well. Tony plays, I believe, around 5. They play 6 forests, so a lot. Cloud Post. Or they tap out for Rex Sage, hit the... Interesting, they're just playing the Rex Sage out. This is actually really good for us. Because now we get to... Ending on Needle. Wasteland Post. Play Saga. Ah, rough. Yeah, really nice turn for us. I mean... It looks like Tony was in a tough spot, and I think that turn showed that they had to take a turn where they just didn't really want to do that, and then untap, and then hopefully be able to like probably play another Cloud Post, and then have 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, maybe Glimmer Post. Maybe it was Cloud Post and the Glimmer Post, so they could Titan. That's probably it. All right. I think I'm happy sending this back. On the draw, it doesn't change too much. There is a world where I want to have more answers for Reclaimer. Yeah, I'm going to assume they had a Titan there. Definitely an interesting one. It might just be 1 extra swords and down on a Mox. To make sure that that turn 1 Rex Sage, we do have either a path, probably a swords is best, because the path I want to keep late game for Titans and Eldrazi's, and the prismatic endings I want to keep for the Needles or expedition maps. So I think this is fine. This hand has a lot of answers, but the mana is just sadly not there. Oof is definitely interesting. Oof does turn off Expedition Map, and if they brought it in Needle. But that's about it. I think we can't keep this. Unless my opponent goes Yavimaya Pass, even then we don't have a great way to answer a turn 1 play, so I'm going to mulligan this. Okay. Okay. Bottoming the step. It's potentially also bottom the Yav, because I don't want to give them green mana. Then we have, yeah, Mox into... Tony kept 7 once. Well, this is definitely a hand where I want to see Reclaimer. Okay, nice. Okay. So let's go Forest, Mox, Pitch Step, Swords Reclaimer, and then I do want to ramp here as well, because if we draw into Knight of the Reliquary, it's just too good to not have that option. It's definitely not insane to consider boarding out Yav. And Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one because I think a lot of the hands we keep. Okay, I think you would say you keep the Yav in case you have a hand where you have like maybe Wasteland Stage Yavimaya, which is actually pretty good if you have a Elvish Reclaimer hand. But I think against Cloudpost, a lot of the opening hands you want to have a white source, so the Yavimaya doesn't really help there unless your hand is like Stage or Wasteland Plains Yavimaya. So there's definitely a world where Yav isn't what you want in the early game. Ooh. All right. I like Pathing the Reclaimer because even though they get a forest, they don't get a Cloudpost, which is even more mana. Saga's a really nice draw. Stage. So here what I'm looking out for is like crop into Cloudpost and then copy Cloudpost with Stage. Pass. All right, so here at least we get to play around that a little bit, which is by passing with Urza Saga up. But if they do have crop here, then we're definitely yeah, cropping into Wasteland. Huh. Okay, that's fair. Rex Sage would be brutal. Once. Okay. 2 cards left. I kept a Needle, I believe. I probably just get Needle here and name Urza Saga. But if they find like Tabernacle, that's pretty brutal. If they crop into Tabernacle, that's pretty brutal. I guess we do have crop for waste hit Tabernacle, but I'm kind of wanting to use that Wasteland for something else. Prime time. Green Suns. Night. Okay. Okay, well what we can do here as well is sack this land to crop. No, we need the extra... I feel like we need the extra token. Interesting spot. So here what we can do is actually with the trigger on the stack, we can crop. Most likely for a white source just to play the knight. I think that's good enough. I think that's better than creating a token here. But then we don't really get to use the mana. That's fine. No, because we need it to play the crop. Oh, it's main phase. It's main phase. It's all good. It's all G. Yep. Like this. Go and get a Windswept Heath. This resolves. We now name Elvish Reclaimer with Needle. We can fetch. Go and get Savannah. Play Knight. and also attack for 2. Alright, 2 cards in my opponent's hand, 3 cards after the draw step, and they have Prime Time in hand. Oh, they don't have a land drop? Surely. Surely. Three cards in hand. Wow. Oh, no land drop is huge for us. Makes sense. Maybe they're holding up Force of Vigor? I'm definitely playing the Flagstones. And then in upkeep, I'm going to take out the Saga. So if they have crop rotation, they have to use that mana in their turn. They're floating 2 mana. If it was Once Upon a Time, they probably do it in their turn to make a land drop, so it's not Once Upon a Time. Yeah, maybe they weren't wanting to tap out there. They didn't create a token either. I guess they only get it now. Ah, it's a stage? Ah, I didn't even realize. No! Ah, no, that's terrible. At least it kind of taps him out for that turn. But yeah, that's a huge misplay. Yeah, apologies team. So just a really cool little interaction there is that this was the Thespian stage that was a copy of Urza Saga, and in response to Wasteland on the Thespian stage copy of Urza Saga, they copied Forest, which then fizzles the Wasteland because it's no longer a non-basic. They missed another land drop, so here we can just get aggressive again. I could have got an extra damage in there by making Thespian stage a copy of Flagstones and then having to lose one to the legendary sort of land part. Once, okay. Ah, this still has that? I think I can make a construct. I believe that works. Hopefully. I guess we'll see. Music sounds amazing with noise cancellation on AirPod Pros. Very cool. I actually got myself some recent headphones as well. The new Sony WF-1000s F4 somethings. Mainly because I have an Android phone, so I don't get the full effects. All right. It doesn't get it. Okay. So is there a world here where we're supposed to path the Reclaimer and just attack with everything? Like what are we playing around? Like Glacial Chasm, perhaps? Maze of Ith, if they play it. We don't see a Maze of Ith. Chasm makes them sack a land as well. 2, 4, 5. They go down to... Yeah, I think I do just path this here. I guess what's the upside of untapping and then seeing? I think we untap and see what we draw into, because if we draw into like a prismatic ending, I want to use that, not the path. Flagstones. Maybe crop into Bog to save some time. Go down to 2. Yeah, okay. Play the flagstones, lose, choose to keep this one. Savannah. All right. Now they get prime time. I'm not sure if we beat Titan because they can get like, potentially if they play like Cloud Post here, they could go get Glimmer Post, gain some life. It'd have to be a pretty awesome draw. Three, 6. It's pretty good. They go to 3. Cloud Post into another is really good. Yeah. Tab. Okay. I think here we still copy flag just to choose this version. Just get a land out of the bin. I'll get a land out of the deck. And then here there's a world where we don't attack with the... Oh, I think I had the line. I think the line last turn was to use Thespian Stage to copy Dryad Arbor, and then this turn allow Dryad Arbor and the other Dryad Arbor to go to the bin, which makes the Knight a 6/6, which means they have to block. Otherwise, we have to draw a land here to really get that going. Yeah, I think that was the line, perhaps. There's also a world where I only play Paper Knight here, so I have 4 mana open for like Green Suns for 3. Which is also like get Ramanap, get Flagstones back, and then Legendary Land. I think that's actually the best play, is just to only paper the Knight. We are not out of parts. Oh, rough. I'd rather hold that than play it. Depths could be the line, actually. Yeah, maybe it is just Depths. But they have their own... Maybe it was actually Depths during... Yeah, I think it was Depths during their turn, so that they couldn't copy it with their own saga. I guess that, yeah, 2 stages. I should have done it during my turn. Ah! Definitely a few misplays, unfortunately, but you live and you learn. It's tough here as well because endurance just kills the knight if we block. Hey Mark, a huge thank you for the tier 1 sub. Too kind. Too kind. I believe that takes us to 43 out of 50 for the sub goal, which is very, very nice. I hope you're well. Chasm. Well, I can't play around too much, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess I could have, Yeah, again, I wasn't going to look at chat because I don't want to get like a winning line from chat, but I think the winning line was create a 2020, they create one as well, but then we have step to give pro. Just little things I'm definitely missing. But I think here we just have to Wasteland. I guess then we need a Wasteland for the Chasm as well, but then they get to Caracas anyway. Tough one. The other line was getting Sajiri step so that the damage doesn't happen, so that endurance doesn't just kill the knight. But I feel endurance coming. Yeah. This is where step was better. We still have one step in the deck. Tough. Just a little, yeah, a few lines we definitely missed. And there's crop, but crop doesn't do anything. Yeah, crack is just too good. Tough. Tough. A lot of little things I could have done better there. Especially thinking about the endurance. Yeah, I think getting the last step was probably correct. Just to kill the Titan and then care about the Chasm, etc. after. Which is tough as well, because then, like, if we're playing around endurance, then we can't attack with endurance. We can't attack with the knight unless we do something like hold up Wasteland ourselves, so that when they attack, they make the knight a 2/2. They block with a 3/4. We then Wasteland ourselves, put 2 lands in the bin to make it a 4/4. But then they still have the Chasm, so we can't attack. Tough one. The Dark Depths line would have been tough because they had both. Because they had Thespian Stage, they had Caracas, and they had Glacial Chasm. So we have Thespian Stage, and we have a Knight. So what we could have done, as they were tapped off the Caracas, and this, is we could have got Dark Depths, and then copied, create a 2020, but in response to them copying, they probably copy as well and create a 2020. So then if we untap, I guess, yeah, if we knew we were during the crop rotation, we could crop for Wasteland on the Glacial Chasm, and then also use Knight to get step to get through pro black and then win. Yeah. So I think that maybe the Knight line was just better. But then they have the endurance to block so that pro black doesn't do anything. So they cast endurance, block the 2020, and then untap with Caracas. Because I don't think... new. Oh, my match has started. Okay. We'll come back. Winged Huskar on the play. This hand's pretty sweet. I'm probably pretty happy to keep this. A little bit slow against like a Delver deck, but I'll quickly see what Wing's been playing. Winged Huskar. Reanimator. Okay, we're pretty happy to keep this against Reanimator. The Bog's a little bit awkward in our hand, but we do have Endurance and Knight, so... still pretty happy to keep. They kind of have to go for it here as well if they have it, because they probably think we have Bojuka Bog in their deck, which is nice if they don't have Hand Disruption for Endurance. I think best case is they have Exhume, and then we get to Endurance them, remove their library, Endurance goes to the graveyard, Exhume resolves, we get Endurance back. Oh, they have the Thoughtseize. Okay. Makes it a little bit tougher. Unmask themselves, rough, ritual, get back. Yeah. Tough. Probably the Saga here. It could be the Bog. I guess Bog ourselves turns off them being able to reanimate one of our creatures off the top. I think it is stage, yeah. Oh, don't six, don't six, don't six, don't six, don't six. Come on now. Come on now. Okay. I think our only way of winning this is through Dark Depths, so... If we take 9, I think our only draw... I don't think we actually have an out other than Sword Plowshares, because Dark Depths is just too slow here. Because we can't put a creature onto field, we just lose it. If we play stage here, we get 1 draw. And it can't even be... It's got to be like a mix of like Yavimaya and Dark Depths and Crop Rotation, which is 3 draws. So I need to go for Swords to Plowshares. And I guess if it's a 2-turn clock anyway, there's no point of bogging myself, but... Not great against them. Currently 2-1. Could just be stage. Nine, lose 3, so it's 18, 2 turns anyway. Yeah, so getting another creature isn't the worst. I think it's just stage, because there's a world where they untap and looting a creature into the bin, and then pass, and then that way we can bog them, so... Yeah, Green Suns does nothing here. It's really just hope for Swords to Plowshares off the top. Tough. Yeah. Alright. We do have surgicals, which is nice. We have paths, which are nice. We have endurances, which are nice. Library, too slow. Ramanap, too slow. Safekeeper, no need. Shadow Spear, no need. I don't mind Needle for Grizzle. I also don't mind dropping a step. I think that's pretty good. There is a world where like they have Serenity, but I don't really care about Serenity, I don't think. Force of Vigor does hit Animate Dead. Thought These was really good. I mean, yeah, Thought These into going off turn 1 is just exactly what Reanimator wants to do, so can't do too much about that. I could consider like dropping a Knight and a Green Suns for 2 forces, just because of Animate Dead. This is a 1-lander, but we get to hold up Crop Rotation and Surgical. So I'm going to keep this. Opponent thinking about their 7. Not too bad either, because if they're on some sort of Chancellor build, we can just probably throw this Mox away into it. Because if they go Chancellor Reveal and our players Forest Pass, if they have Hand Disruptor and take Surgical, we can't cast Crop through the Chancellor. So they mulligan to 6 cards. All right. È done. Yeah, we're just passing here with Crop and Surgical open. Okay. One of those games. Entomb's okay. They're probably Entomb for Grizzle here, not the Archon. Oh, they do go for Archon. Okay. And they do have Animate Dead. Dark Ritual Grizzle. So definitely taking this one. And I just want to see that deck as well. So they brought in Wear Tear, Serenities. Just going to take a quick sneak. All right. Yab's pretty nice. We know about the wear tear, so I'm actually not going to play out the Mox in here. But Serenity is really nice tech for my opponent. So we'll see if they play the Bloodstained Maya. They do. And then they just pass. They're also getting close to like just hard cast Grizzle, which is kind of scary. I don't mind Green Suns for another elf here. They have one more card in hand. Looting's okay. They probably pitch Grizzlebrand here. Oh, they keep the Grizzle. Maybe they're going for a hard cast. Through ritual effects? They didn't play a land though. Of course. So get one free attack here, and then we can probably go and get Wasteland end of turn and then hold up Wasteland as well. There's also a case just to get Wasteland now, because if they have double Ritual, that's 5 mana. And I guess if this was the play, I should have done this all pre-combat to get the extra 2 damage in. I like getting Caracas here, and they're just starting to actually get in with everything. There is a world, because Elvish Reclaimer doesn't change things here, I could keep the Elvish Reclaimer for Force of Vigor, in case they do have a line here of like, get Grizzlebrand into play off Animate Dead, because then at least then they can't draw off it. But let's have a quick look at what their other outs are. What other creatures do they have? They have 2 Grizzlebrands, Griefs, Grizzlebrand. That's actually it. They only have Grizzlebrands. So I think we're actually pretty good here to play the other Reclaimer. Which is tough, because that means the 2 damage that we lost out on by not doing everything main phase last turn, and the fetch land is the extra 3 to put them to 9, and then we have lethal. So definitely tough. I'm pretty happy running this back. No real changes. Well, we have a lot of removal, which is kind of nice. Is it crazy to keep this? I feel like our opponents might be on a slower hand as well. They were going for Archons early on, so I actually don't mind this. They went to 6. They took the crop, so they're probably going for a Grizzlebrand line where they can draw cards before we get to Path, or draw in response. Archon, okay. Not too unhappy about that, to be fair. I think it's just the swords here that we drop when we keep both parts. Should have done this in end step, but hopefully it doesn't matter. I kind of want to draw just another land here, so I don't have to play the Bog this turn, and then we can play the Knight the following turn. Wasteland's pretty good as well. Oh, they have the looting flashback. I probably should have thought about that a little bit more. Because now they get to looting this turn. But I guess if they want to put a creature into the bin now, they have to go off this turn, or else we get to bog it. They put an Archon in. Oh, but they don't have anything. Okay, that's pretty good for us. Bog them. Pass. This also means the next turn we can play Knight and hold up Path to Exile, which is really nice. Oh. Okay. We do have to tap it off the path here, though, if we want to play the Knight, but I think that's fine because we have the Surgical. Get Savannah. I actually don't mind Wasteland Badlands first to see what if they do anything in response, like Entomb. Okay. They could still hit like creature in the bin and then reanimate, but we do have Surgical for it, which is pretty nice. Double animate dead. Wow, okay. So they really miss. Okay, now we just hold up Dark Depths, which is really nice. Crop for stage, float 2 mana, get Dark Depths. Oh, they are tapped out here, so this is fine. Nice. Very nice. Pretty cool. So we finished 3-1. Which is really nice. Going down to Mono Green Post, up against BRx Reanimator, BANT lands, and also 8-cast. Or I guess like Urza Echo? Not sure how to describe that one. But deck was pretty sweet. I was a pretty big fan of it. If we sort this again. Yeah, everything was pretty nice. I think I'll be back for the other prelim, which I believe in my time is in 5.5 hours. And I'll probably play the green-white version of Depths that plays Pyroblast in the board, which is pretty cool. I know Jono Dreadnought33, who streams, was a big fan of it. But yeah, the list was pretty solid. Saga was nice, but I wouldn't say it was backbreaking. There were a lot of times where we just had things to do and actually tapped off it. So that was yeah, pretty interesting. But yeah, overall big fan of the list. Does anyone know if I can actually drop from this event, or do I have to let it kind of finish up? I'm not sure how this works. But that's gonna be me. I'm gonna go outside and do some exercise. But yeah, I'll be back tonight in about 5.5 hours for the next prelim. But 3-1 was really cool. I was really happy with that, especially just to go down to interplay. That was actually like a really fun game as well, which is cool. So let it finish to be safe. Yeah, it's true, Wolf. A huge thank you. I hope you're doing well. I'm gonna see who else is streaming. I'll definitely see if I can find that list, Marco. But it did look pretty, yeah, pretty sweet. Looks like Caleb is streaming. Nice. So I'll send you guys over there. But until then, yeah, enjoy your evenings, your mornings, your afternoons, and I'll see you hopefully